Like it.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. This is Bob Dahl. He's from North
What's
Alabama.
up?
He has the Caffeinated Cryptid, and I don't even know how we met. We've never met in person, but we I guess text back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know how I met half the people I talk to all the time now. I don't
yeah,
even care.
it's weird for y'all. His podcast, he changed his name recently to the Caffeinated Cryptid. And how many shows have you actually done total?
I'm probably about 130, but officially I'm at 104.
And you're always on somebody's show helping out too.
Yeah, I try to sharpen my blade and get the how a stand-up comedian does like 4 or 5 sets a week.
Yeah.
I try to do at least 3 shows, count my own a week at least.
Well, a lot of people, even me included,
Mhm.
it I thought it might be easy, but it's not.
Oh no, it's a craft.
Yeah, and I'm a greenhorn, so that's one reason I wanted you on because I like to pick people's brains about certain things, and I know you, man. I see you going live all the time, and the very first, I don't even know how I found. I don't
Wendell.
even know how I found. What is it?
Wendell asked me this morning. He doesn't know how he met me too.
Where did you come from? We can't
Shoehorn
take
my
it.
way in everything.
We so, um, but I I don't know what I was searching. But your podcast popped up, and I talked about this on your show. The lady that was talking about the Fayetteville ghost and the hospital over there.
Yes,
Uh,
Sin.
yeah, that was the first one that I watched, and it hooked me in because I used to work. I had a route, and I was in Fayetteville a lot. And one day I got a little bit lost, and I ended up beside that hospital. And I remember Zach Baggins and all those guys,
Hmm.
had done a show over there. And I quickly turned the van around and went the other way because I just recently started like facing my fears with some of this stuff in the past year or so, and there was a point where I rejected a lot of it. But
Hmm.
so I got a question, and we this was on Facebook the other day. I There was a question, and you answered it. With the Bigfoot and the cryptids and all this different thing, what do you think the appeal is? Why do you think people are interested? Is it the mystery, or people just
Oh
like?
yeah, yeah. I liked it since I was little. I read books about it, little ghost stories about it. But I think everybody has that. I think it's the same reason. Uh, what's the? I just drew a blank. I think it's the same reason the ghost shows got so popular. I think everybody's into it because
Yeah,
you tell somebody what your podcast about, and you think, I got this woo woo podcast, and like somebody's gonna make fun of you, and 90% of the time it's like, really, my aunt. Some that next statement, my aunt has a cat that lets dead lives in her house, and I
I,
think it's fascinating. I think it may be some kind of primordial stuff too. Like I think
but
we know it's real from our caveman days.
yeah, and so okay, that's a good point because a lot of people have not had like they've seen a ghost or whatever,
Hmm.
but they have these strange feelings in a house. I've been in a strange house before, and just the air was heavy. I was scared and on alert. So there's a bunch of different type of encounters, and I think you're right. With my job now, I ask people. I don't say anything about Bigfoot right off the bat, but I'll start with ghost stuff. And
Hmm.
almost everybody, if they haven't had an experience, they know somebody close to them that have.
It's weird. I only know a handful of people who are just 100% agnostic toward anything being real, and they're just kind of and even they have a reason, like some kind of childhood trauma, the reason they don't think it's real.
Yeah, and
Like
so
like they prayed about like a grandfather not to pass away, and it happened, so they're mad at God.
yeah,
That's
So we just recently had the government basically say, UAPs are real.
Mhm.
There was absolutely no reaction, hardly.
That was so weird.
I, I, yeah, I was expecting people to have parties like the movie Independence Day up on the
Mhm.
roof and like, hey, come get us. But they're nobody. They're either not paying attention or they just don't believe, what's coming out.
They're paying attention, but I think everybody's kind of preoccupied. One guy said, "Tell the aliens we'll call them back. We're doing some shit right now. We're dealing with some shit right."
That's exactly right. Yeah,
You know, like
I'm working
give
extra
us a
hours.
second. Give us a second, would you?
Yeah, I'm working extra hours so I can afford to eat. We don't have time for aliens right now. So
Like you remember? Oh my God, this is gonna be the obscure reference of the year. Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah,
and he gets attacked by that reindeer, and he said, "You picked the wrong day." When he punched it in the head. That's everybody with aliens. Like, not now,
not right now. We,
not
we
right now.
I there's
One time
something
I had this is
there's.
funny too. Sorry, I promise I promise it'll be worth it.
Oh, you're
But
good.
I had remember when Chipotle was making everybody sick?
No, no.
I think it made me sick back in the day. And I came home from work and I couldn't drive. I had to stop and take like 20-minute naps on the way home. I was so sick. I got home and threw up and like I couldn't move. I mean I couldn't move from the bed. I was having fever dreams. I was sweating. And my wife tells me she's pregnant with her second kid. And I'm like, not now. It was the same. I'm like, 3 days later. I'm like, okay, now we can talk about it. But I couldn't even deal with it or whatever.
Bob looks at her and said, "No, I think it's me." You know,
I
I
could.
think I am.
I'm pretty sure I went. "Ugh." It was bad. It was one of the top three sickest I've ever been.
Wake up and there's a post-it note just in case you didn't hear.
Oh man,
Hey, by the way.
it was
Um,
awful.
well, I know you talk to people, and what I like about your show is you never know what the subject's going to be. You're not tied
Yep.
down to one. Um, I mean, like I learned about the puckwudgie. We'll get into that later. I had what that was. I just happened to be watching.
Wait, I was on
What
somebody else's show for that one.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how I found that one. Maybe you sent me a
yeah.
mail.
I probably sent it around.
Yeah. Uh, so what would be? I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but the one of your or some of your favorite stories about it, no matter what, the UFO, Bigfoot, Crypt, whatever. What would be some of your favorite that you've learned through talking to people about these subjects?
I'd say probably my favorite off the bat would be Randy Bauer up in Minnesota, and he was with his he had a book written about his place, and he was with the authors, and they were sitting on like a ladder stand. You know how you can take a ladder stand and not put a section in it, and it's like head high.
Right?
And I think they were sitting on that kind of just like a platform, and they saw like the elevator door open in the woods with the northern lights coming out of it. Like it was a square. He described it like an elevator door opening, and the northern lights came out of it. You know, just a prism, and two orbs floated out, and they went toward the ground. And about the time they got toward the ground and started crunching, they turned into Bigfoot, and they grabbed apples and stuff off a log, went back toward the doors, turned back into orbs, and he said he heard the crunches before he saw the actual beings. I compared it to like whenever James Earl Jones went into the cornfield. How you like saw him walk, you saw him walk and then he disappeared.
And then yeah, that's
That's one
you
of my
know,
favorite stories.
and when I first, you know, everybody knows my story, and I don't even know how to put this. I didn't believe in this other stuff, the woo, the high strangeness, and all
Hmm.
this. But I've had some weird things happen that I can't discount it at all, and some of it makes more sense than you would think.
Hmm.
We don't know what these things are capable of. I mean, can you ever seen an octopus change colors or a chameleon?
Yeah.
You
You seen
know,
one like make itself look like a fish
no.
sticking out? It'll make itself look like a moray eel sticking out of a hole.
Wait,
It's weird looking.
so until we know, we don't know what they're capable of. So that's why I like listening to everybody. You said there were two witnesses to that.
It was Randy Bauer and his I think it was his author, Michael Quast. The book's called High Strangeness Sasquatch Central in a Minnesota Homestead.
I'm
I
gonna
had
have
them both on. Michael Quast is kind of quiet, but he'll open up after a while. If you get him and Randy on there both, Randy's kind of talkative. He reminds you like the quintessential, I'm up here up north there. I don't you know.
to.
He's like every stereotype all at once. He has the little hat with the camouflage flat or the not camo plaid flaps on it.
Yeah.
He drives the pickup there. He lives just below the Canadian border in Black Duck, Minnesota, and he sees the Sasquatch.
I wonder next time you talk to him, ask him if he's close to Moose Jaw, Canada.
He may be. He's up close to Bemidji, kind of.
So,
He wants me to go up there, but that's a long drive. It's 19 hours.
that's a lot. Yeah, that's.
Then flying's $1,000.
You gonna go during the winter?
I don't know. I've never seen snow like that.
We're everybody. He is in northern Alabama, so
I've seen maybe we got a foot in 1993, and that's about it. And it about
I
killed everybody.
I I got stranded. Uh, but I had my go bag in my truck. I had a 2-wheel drive truck, and we lived up on this big ridge. And it happened. I got caught in that. Parked my truck at the bottom of the field, got all my extra clothes on, and took off with my flashlight. And we had a store on the interstate. And when that happened, um, y'all don't have anything to clear the roads, or you didn't have
Mm-mm.
at that point. And I believe that some states borrow equipment sometimes. I'm sure they pay for it, but I was I was on the interstate and people are headed south. I've had to do this twice in my life. One time it's Kentucky, one time it was Alabama. I said, y'all, Alabama's closed." "What do you mean?"
You
I
can't
mean,
go there.
they're closed. You either got to go through Mississippi or whatever.
Was
But
that 1993?
y'all early '90s, and then we had the ice storm right after that.
In 90, yeah, 97.
We had two of them. Yeah, one of them devastated this area.
They had snowpocalypse in 2014 when everybody got stuck in Atlanta
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Birmingham.
Yep. I remember that. We were involved. We had people getting stranded. So we just don't see that much.
I don't know
And
what I would do. I think I would freeze up.
yeah,
four
well,
4 feet of snow. I mean, my brain would be able to process it.
yeah, you can get you some of that musky down wine and thaw out.
It would have to be.
Is 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 where did the musky dines grow? Is it only in Alabama? Because
Muskie nine, they got to be some up there. They're in all the old books they make you read.
I we I can't stand now. Don't kill me for this. I can't stand the smell of them because one of my friends thought he was going to be funny and he threw a couple under my seat, my
Mm,
car,
mm,
and they fermented, and I could not get that smell out of that
man,
car. Yeah, hot summertime.
we've actually got 4 or 5 big old rows of them in a little vineyard by our catfish pond back home.
Do you eat
They
them?
make 'em- I don't really eat them. I drink the wine sometimes. They give them to me.
I've
A
seen them in.
homemade wine stout.
Oh yeah, my dad made some peach wine one time, and he got the whole neighborhood drunk.
Hmm.
It was because it was so good. Everybody was just like, "Oh man, that's great!" And the next thing you know, there are people laying all over the yard. So
Yep, and it's smooth usually.
yeah, yeah. What is your favorite subject? And I don't know there are probably some that are close, but what do you have the most fun talking to people about on your show?
Probably my favorite one is if I had to pick one, desert island style. Probably somebody that was old and lived on a place where they habituated the Bigfoot. Now, if I had to take something that was consistent all the time, paranormal societies.
Yeah.
Paranormal societies are usually always good, and if you vet them out a little, sometimes there's some crazy folks running those things. But for the most, it's only bit me like one time for real bit me where I couldn't use the show, but and that was I can't even talk about it on a public medium about why. because it may offend some folks, but like usually they have evidence. They have people who are friends. They have EVPs you can play. You know, I'll kill you.
Yeah,
And generally those are the ones that are most knowledgeable because they can do it like every weekend.
right.
Bigfoot guys just happen to live in a farm that has a invisible monkey on it.
Yeah, and
And
it's one time, you know, one incident.
yeah, a lot of times those guys have like Randy up in Minnesota. He is a plethora. He's had everybody up there. I just happen to be one of his, I guess, preferred people he's talked to because I just sit down with him and I believed him right out of the gate.
Well, there are people like Ron Moorhead. You know,
Hmm.
he had uh, got caught the Sierra Sounds. They've been gone all over and experts, and some of them say it's a language, and nobody's debunked it. And he himself talked about the energy
Hmm.
and the orbs coming through their camp, different shapes. So that's what put him on the track, I guess, of thinking of
Hmm.
the energy, how they may travel or whatever.
You know, Mike talked about the Sierra Sounds in his story. He said they were talking. He said he heard it talking across the pasture
It was
or power line,
garbled, like a
power line cut.
cry chatter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he mentioned that. I was going to ask him about it. He's actually going to be on my show Sunday.
is he?
Hmm.
Well, He's he. We usually send messages back and forth, but he's busy with it. He just had his first grandchild.
Ooh,
He's over the moon with
I
that.
bet.
So yeah, I'll get sometimes I'll look 2:30. I'll get up 2:30 in the morning. He was up and
Hmm.
hey, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do that, and it's kind of cool because we've never met, and
I thought y'all were neighbors. I
no,
did. I swear to God, I thought y'all were best friends for life or something.
no, no. I reached out to him because I thank you, David. I um I got started listening to crime mystery podcast at work about a year ago, and then I'm like, I'm a little slow. I'm like, wait a minute, Bigfoot. So I typed in Bigfoot, start listening,
Hmm.
and of course, Cliff and Bobo show pops up, and Mike's on it. And I'd listened to about 10 shows before I heard him. And he was just starting up his channel. He gave out his email. Hey, Flat Rock.
Flat Rock.
And he, I don't know, something made me, it was like I was drawn to his story because I actually said, oh crap, or worse, 3 or 4 times on the way home.
He got
And
a good story.
oh, it's,
It may be the best one.
it, it'll go down in history as one of the best Class A encounters. That amount of time that
Hmm.
they had the standoff. Yeah, you heard it for the first time on my first show, right?
Hmm. I'd never heard. I'd never really listened. I never heard it before.
So now you see why I reached out to him.
Hmm. It traumatized me a little bit.
I
I thought
listened.
about that for 2 days. Like it was in my mind. Like man, that dude was just that happened to that dude,
Yeah, I was.
and he's not lying about it.
No, no, because I've watched him tell it 12 to 15 times. I don't even know, and I get goosebumps. I know what's coming, and I still that's terrifying. You're doing something you do all the time. One of the things you enjoy. It'd be like one coming in and sitting down in your podcast room, right?
Hmm. And screaming at you.
It's screaming. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I used to deer hunt on a like I was picturing my last hunting club I was on when he was talking about the power lines and the big gap and how he was hunting inside the woods.
Hmm.
I mean, it was exactly the same terrain I was on, except I had mountains. He didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having to go back to the truck after that.
No, or
I
being.
live here now. I'm a resident.
Yeah. You find his bones up in the tree stand 2 seasons later.
I couldn't imagine getting
No,
mad
I
and
don't.
knowing that was happening.
A lot of us are lucky enough to have seen things, and we're lucky enough to not have had up close encounters like that. I've talked to several people, and depending on what age they are, sometimes the kid like Kevin, he was a teenager, young teenager.
Hmm.
He was kind of like amazed at it, and his brother took off running, and he just stayed there and looked at it. And now he's got an amazing detail, that it it kind of backs up Mike's story, some of the same things.
Hmm. A lot of the stories back up each other.
And David,
Very.
David there, I'm gonna try to have him on sometime. He had an experience. He's in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, right? So that ought to be interesting.
David Blalick.
Yeah, yep.
I talk to every one of these people. I don't know.
I know, I know. Right?
I'm.
It's the same with all of us. He told me where he lived, but I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
When I give you an area, we're gonna hit close.
Maybe I haven't messaged him. I don't know. Sounded familiar.
Yeah, you probably Oregon. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to say the wrong, and I would have. I think I would have said Washington. He'd have been sending me text. But what
Not the same thing.
the what?
This is not the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing. Do you? Okay, so most of everybody in the country have like a local legend, of some kind, whether it's
Hmm.
ghost or, we have the Chapel Hill Light in the north end of the county.
Yeah.
We have a
Which is
church.
wild.
We have a church that's supposedly it's haunted. The Bible stays out. It's been there for years. And the story goes, and I've had friends say this, if you go in there and steal the Bible, um, you will wreck on the way home, and the Bible will end up back on the.
I'd have to give that a try. Do they
No,
die?
no. Okay,
I
I'll
mean,
film.
but do the people die when they do it? I mean, you just have a
No,
wreck. I'll go rent a
no,
U-Haul for 1999
no,
and go
no.
steal that damn Bible and see if it wrecks me.
I'm the one that's always uh, chicken shit. I always say,
Yeah.
well, hey, I'll let me hang out over here. Why come and do this with us? And somebody has to call 911. So
I wonder if like you. I bet you get bad hitchhiker syndrome if you did that though. I bet you'd be a little bit cursed for a while.
I, that's
Stubbing your toe.
well, and the more you learn about this stuff, I don't know if somebody said it on your show. The hitchhiker could hang around for 10 years and you not know it's there,
Hmm.
and then all of a
Yep.
sudden, I don't know about that. I don't. That scares me.
Hey, I got
The
a girl at work whose mom was a ghost hunter, and they had a real bad experience up in Kentucky. And she said she saw shadow figures for 6 months afterwards in her house. They
mm,
lived in Michigan.
mm,
That stuff's real.
that-
I don't want to see nothing in my house.
no, I know my mom and my dad and two other people got struck by lightning. They were playing golf in a tournament, and all of them were pretty much okay. They called the emergency room. They're like, "Hey, do we need to come to the doctor?" I said, well, if it didn't kill you instantly, you're probably going to be okay. Some of
Hmm.
you will have some residual effects, and one of them had a heart attack, and he made it through it. But my mom, the house that I lived in, I lived in the basement, and I had moved out. I never felt anything there at all. She didn't either. But after she got struck by lightning, she started seeing the shadow figures, and she was in her sewing room one day. She had two sewing machines, and the one started actually. You have to mash those hard pedals to
Hmm.
get it to go, and one started going, and that was the end of it. She made my dad sell the place.
Couldn't
Yeah,
imagine that.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, um,
Well, that's a near-death experience like that's what they say. Will bring it out.
yeah,
People
and
that get hit with shells in Iraq and have bad car wrecks and get resuscitated, they all start seeing stuff.
yeah, and I wonder if it's just paranormal. I wonder if I would like to talk to people and see if they've become more susceptible to like the cryptids. Also, that would be a
Yeah, I
good
mean
thing.
they do. That's one of the things.
That's
It's that's what Mike that's what happened to Mike Colantonio, Long Island Bigfoot.
okay.
He got hit by a shell in Iraq, and he came back home and he could see Bigfoot everywhere.
I see. I haven't heard his story.
He's got a good one.
You
He's
gonna
one of
have
the first ones I talked to about it. He's like, yeah, I got hit by an IED in Iraq. You know, he sounds like he's from the Bronx. Yeah, dog, I
yeah,
got hit by an IED in Iraq, and I got to go by the bodega and get avocado later, and I saw Bigfoot when I got back.
That
But Adam Began, sorry, I think I had COVID last week. Adam Began up in Maine, big Stephen King fan. He never used to see anything. He got hit by a car when he was, what did he have? Did he get real sick and die? He died somehow. Something happened. Hit by a car, real sick. He came back. Now he's a ghost hunter. Sees stuff everywhere. Slept naked in Lizzie Borden's bed. Got
oh
touched. I don't know if I'd have done that, but he did.
no, you would do it. You'd be the first one in there.
I don't know, man. I'm chicken shit when it comes to some of that, but
You yeah, you would do it. You and then later regret it probably, but
can you imagine the first time something touched you?
no, I mean no. I you know how it is like when you're in the dark, all the sounds and I mean even like hunting,
Yeah.
going before daylight, it could be the one that did I tell you about the one of the most scary things that ever happened to me? I was hunting and we're talking about misidentifying sounds, and I'll make it short. Uh, I was in a new place and this sound started going around me and bouncing off the trees, and it scared me to death. And
Hmm.
it was a donkey, but he
Oh
was,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, and I'm, but at the end of it, of course, I knew what it was. But it for about I don't know 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, I was scared to death.
Yeah, if you ain't ready to hear a donkey, you don't know what's there.
No, I didn't
That
know.
sounds like the thunder of God going.
That's do you talk to people from the Fayetteville area, Lincoln County, Flintville?
I have.
Have you heard anything about the white Bigfoot?
I've heard about the Flintville monster.
Yeah.
That's my boss at work said his aunt saw it step over a 6 foot fence.
Well,
But yeah, Sin mentioned something about it.
the reason I asked, I've been seeing some stories on the internet about a white Bigfoot that was seen in Lincoln County area, and we were talking about Bigfoot. I was expecting to get a little bit of ridicule to some family members, and my wife's sister is like, "Oh yeah, don't you remember us? Me and the other sister, we saw a white Bigfoot in Marshall County back in the early '90s." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
What?
Yeah, and Heather was like, "You
You
never
just gonna
told me
lead
that."
with that?
Yeah, like that would be the first, that'd be the first thing I would tell people. But
Yeah.
I'm different. But no, she said, yeah, we saw it, but we both saw it. Same thing, stepped over a fence and kept walking, and it was white. And so I have been seeing accounts. It's not too far from here, Lincoln
Mm,
County, east side of Fayetteville there, and with those mountains, Scottsboro and all through there, it looks like good terrain for some of this stuff.
especially up there. I imagine in the area where the Elk River kind of twists and turns through some of the ridges and those watercress farms. It's a good habitat for them
I would think so.
because it has a little, not so much a mountain, but a ridge where nobody lives all over the place, steep.
And you know what some people forget about? Not everybody, but some people forget about the history of our. We're kind of in the same area, but
Hmm.
there was a huge, when the Civil War was going on, there's a lot of battlefields, and some of
A
them are
lot
not
of them.
skirmishes that were, just maybe a few men or whatever, but there's death, that, and so some of this paranormal activity and unexplained disembodied voices and stuff, if people believe in that, could come from. I would think that would be
Hmm.
a main trigger. I would think.
That's funny you said that. On the Flint River here in just down the road from my house, the river that runs through Madison County.
Yeah.
We were my friend bought a kayak, wanted me to take him out. I'm kind of like a low key kayak guy. He said honkies. You can't say that on the internet.
Go
Yeah.
get.
Well, we're stopped at this one of the little beaches I call it, just like a rock. It's like a flat place you can pull your kayak on.
Right.
And he goes, what is that? Is that a? It looked like what it was. It was a sabot muzzleloader bullet,
Yeah.
and it looked kind of marred up. I picked it up, put it in my pocket, wouldn't think nothing about it. And my parents live about 3 miles from a real popular Civil War historian. So I messaged him. He found a mini ball sitting on top of the ground. I put it in my pocket and took it home. He goes, "Well, if you ever get rid of that, let me have it." Because I thought it was just a. Now, how, I mean, it was on top. Like somebody walked up to a playground and sit on top of the sand.
Yeah, it just washed up.
Yeah,
Probably
so
no telling
who
how long.
knows, man? 50 cal. I mean, it had the little fins on the side, and the Hornadies you get, they're real flat and they're pronounced. But you could tell this was made by somebody with us like a mold.
Right.
It was wild. So yeah, it could be anything. And there's no major battlefields even near Huntsville other than, like you said, minor skirmishes.
Well, and
Could have happened anywhere.
just north of you, you come through those hills or mountains or foothills from Scottsboro to it's Flintville, and then what's the other little place over there? I never can. It's a right there on the Alabama line in Tennessee.
Oh, Huntley.
You got yes, Huntland. You know, if you're in that area, there's a marker for there's Bean Creek,
Hmm.
and Davy Crockett's wife was a Bean,
Yep.
and he married her, and that's where he did a lot of his hunting. Hey, hey, Mike, what's up?
Mike, 2 days you're gonna be on the Dizzle show.
The
So you're
Dizzle.
gonna get your big break.
He he's gonna be official Dizzler.
Yep.
If we come up with a
Didn't
official name
somebody
for
say? Didn't somebody say the fans were called the Dizzlers?
the Dizzlers, official
Yeah.
Dizzler. So Mike, when you go on the show, he's already got set up. You get a free tattoo.
Yep.
Bobby Dizzle show. So or the
It's a
cap.
hot coat hanger I've crafted with a Leatherman.
So oh my god,
Yeah, I'm actually in the
I'm,
Huntland area where I'm at right now.
you are.
Yeah, I'm not far from it. I'm more outside of Huntsville than in it.
So those hills there, conceivably, are some of his hunting ground, and he had an
Hmm.
experience or an encounter.
Oh,
You
Davy Crockett.
yes, yeah, you probably read that. If you haven't,
Well, I probably heard about it. There's so
but
many of them. You get sent those things by the caseload.
yeah,
There we
and
go. They got a winery up there. I know they do have a winery up there.
see,
What are you
Bob,
talking about?
he's professional. He's got the computer and the mic, and I
Yeah.
might grade one of these days.
Yeah. You can use my consultant fees. Wait, where the hell? Okay, I zoomed out too far. I saw 65 and I thought I was way over like toward Bucky's, but
Yeah,
it's the
you're
highway six. It's the highway 65 that goes through Paint Rock Valley
okay.
across the right across the mountain from where I grew up. I said, "When has Huntland been next to 65? Some kind of Mandela shit." Yeah.
You,
Okay. Yeah. So the Bean Creek winery's right there. My uncle was up there last week. All right, it's all checking out now. Your story checks out. Keep on. It's not lying.
so so sometimes I don't know. Sometimes when I'm telling stories, I hear myself and I'm like, these people are going to think I'm crazy. That's when somebody tells me a story, I have to listen.
Tell
I
it
can't.
anyway.
The way, yeah. I mean,
Tell it anyway.
let's see. I had something. I was no. I better save that for later.
I'm trying to look at the distance. I mean, how far am I actually from Huntland? 15 miles.
15 miles. I've
Yeah.
been. I've been through your backyard before several times. That little road headed south out of there.
Yeah, the road headed south across the like back to Alabama
Yeah.
and through the hills. Yeah, that goes back to like where I was raised. It's the Winchester Road that heads back to Huntsville from there. That's where I live off of.
Okay.
21.73 if you go by the road. Yeah, the 22 miles. It's not far because whenever we go kayaking up at the Elk River, I go up to Huntland and before you get to when you get to Elora, there's that little crossroads,
Yeah.
and there's a gas station. It's about 2 or 3 miles from Huntland, and it makes like a if you go to Elora and go north, it'll cross 64 Davy Crockett Highway, and it almost makes like a protractor all the way up to the dam. There's a road. I mean, it's 2 lanes. You'll hit deer.
The one that goes by the fish hatchery
Maybe. I mean, it
on
just
the left.
goes.
You
Yeah,
shoot straight across. You come up from Laura, go straight across, and turn, and it bears to the left.
yeah, it's up there. Like
Yeah.
you go, but it goes straight to 64. It's almost due north from Elora, and then you kind of go back north. You go back northeast toward the dam, Tim's Ford,
Yeah.
and it takes you right there.
Yeah, I've been all up in there. That's where the Flintville monster was
Hmm.
supposedly seen, right?
Yeah,
Or
because Flintville's like right there off. Flintville is off that road I'm talking about. I mean, it's
yeah,
if you took a left halfway up and went back towards Flintville, you'd
and
go to where you'd go what you're talking about, the fish hatchery thing.
if people that's not from around here, if you take a right, you go to Chattanooga, go up to the mountain up
Yep.
there. Um, yeah, there's some huge, huge acreages of land. Um, yeah, I don't like hearing my voice. Mike said nobody likes to hear their voice on.
The most fun thing, like whenever we'll go to Nashville on like a Saturday from Huntsville here, and we go back to my parents' house, which is back below Winchester. We'll go down 24,
Mhm.
hit Mont Eagle to Chattanooga, and I always like to start making Smokey and the Bandit references. I love going up and down Mont Eagle, but it's kind of scary.
Oh yeah, I've been on it when it started, freezing up a little bit. As long as I keep
Mm-mm.
it, as long as I stay out, away from the trucks. If I'm on it by myself, which is rare, I'm okay with it. Or what about going up through Cowan, up that twisty, winding,
Ooh, yeah.
go up 64 up to the top up there? That's fun. Uh,
To go up to like Swanee.
yeah, yep, up on top of the hill. Um, so I don't know if we answered this question or not.
Oh yeah, it is Swanee. Yeah. Oh,
Do y'all have any local legends other than the Flintville monster or any ghost stories or anything?
let me look because there are some. I don't want to like forget them.
Butcher them.
But
You're the expert. You're supposed to know all this.
well, I kind of got like I don't, you don't know me that well, but you kind of do. I've got like a memory that's full of useless stuff,
Yeah,
and it's eidetic, and I have to kind of flip through it
right.
like you're searching through a server. But I'm looking. I'm starting out here. There's a crybaby bridge up on Sand Mountain called Matheny's, and it's your classic crybaby. Leave a bottle, it's gone. I don't think that's real.
I've I've never heard of that.
But I interviewed a guy named Dale Kasalek, I think Kazmarek, and he did a whole book on all the crybaby bridges in the country.
I've never.
Apparently it's a phenomenon. And anytime there's like a bridge, it's like it's less than it's like a half a tenth of a mile long. Just the standard in a creek in the country. They always turn it. They're always a legend about a crybaby bridge.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing. Back where I grew up. See, I grew up on an old plantation. My family, two generations ahead of me, were sharecroppers, and they still got the slave graveyards out there. The slave quarters were still there when I was little, and the old house that my family rented and lived in was supposed to be haunted. And one of the guys I talked to, you remember the show I did where I went into the place and did a live on location podcast,
I don't
and
think I've seen that yet.
it was back home, and like we toured this whole haunted
Oh,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that guy did an EVP session there and said he caught something. I've never. My mom has lived there and never had anything, and so has my grandpa or papa and his parents. The only thing my mom saw was a shooting star that landed in the yard and burned a hole in the ground, which that's kind of cool. I mean,
Wow, that's crazy. That's Hey, we start. Hey, somebody let the gate open. We got Blue Eyed Northern. Of course,
oh my
Mike's here.
gosh,
Walked in. Joe Parker. Spencer
and we
needs
got
a co-host. He
10
has no.
people.
Uh-oh. And we must have some friction with
Hmm.
Misty and Spencer.
David Hughes. What's up,
Yep.
David? Is
How's it
David
going?
Hughes the same? Is that the remember the disc jockey from Chattanooga that got killed named David Earl Hughes like
No.
20, 30 years ago? He was hilarious. Oh,
Well, you,
yeah. Hale's Bar, uh, South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. That's a popular one. That's been on. That's been on ghost channels.
that
It's
is
on
that
the on the Nickajack.
the dam?
Hale's Bar Dam. When you go to Chattanooga, you look off there and you see that little.
Yeah.
eh,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking. You see it off to the side. It's popular haunted place.
Is that Nick? You said Nickajack.
Yeah,
Nickajack.
it's on the Nickajack, that big Nickajack bridge. If you look north, if you're going toward Chattanooga, you'll see it.
Hey, we
It's
already have
it looks
fishing
like half a
expedition.
dam.
Yeah, I
I
did
wouldn't
see
hate it.
that actually. Um, but y'all welcome in. I appreciate y'all coming by. I know
Yeah,
a lot of shows. We're just chit chatting about local legends and
I'm remembering things.
yeah. Bob he's interviewed a ton of people and from all over. And he, if I know most of y'all know, but he has his show, the Caffeinated Cryptid. If y'all can go give that a follow,
Yeah, BobbyDizzle.com.
BobbyDizzle.com.
Check it out. Now Huntsville's eat up with stuff. Huntsville's got its own ghost tour.
They do.
Yeah, they've got they dress up like the 1700s and walk around.
How would you how
Huntsville has
how
holy
would you know if
shit.
that?
Look,
Go ahead.
so they have the in Twickenham they have the Dead Children's Playground. For God's sakes, how did I leave that one out? Yeah, you go there, no wind, the swings start moving. It's
Wow.
insane. Yeah, and it's on the back of Maple Hill Cemetery, but that's part of the ghost tour as well.
You know, you need to do a map. We all need to do a map of places to like day trips
Hmm.
to go see. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Um, but Spencer last week asked about ley lines, and then he did a quick search and was saying that they're all over the place here,
Hmm.
just right on top of us. And I know y'all have a huge Cherokee history in your area, right? You
Hmm.
should.
It's got that Trail of Tears thing through it.
Yep. Hey Spencer, everybody. I'm gonna say hi to everybody because the chat really picked up when y'all.
Yeah, what happened? Somebody get out of church?
Well, Mark had his show. Mark Plowboy Green, him and his wife,
Oh,
and I learned how to make rose tea, rose petal tea, and they've had a lot of experiences with Bigfoot and other things too. But they do a lot of homesteading uh, shows, and it's really good show. I was actually learning. I'm like, dang, I got to get off here and fire mine up.
taking notes.
Yeah, yeah, because it's just and they're not too far away from both of us. Mark, what town? Just you don't have to give the exact town, but what town in Alabama are you close to?
What was the name of the show?
It's
Or who were they? Mark Green, you said?
yes. Hold on, he can type it. It's homesteading. Uh, what is it? I see. I draw a blank. Somebody will put it in here. Spencer, give us a link, please, sir.
That's my next endeavor is get a homestead, 20 or 30 acres,
Yeah, and
maybe more.
David, he said he's going elk hunting in the morning. Mark and Rebecca's show ended, and they promoted the Squatch and Holler show. Oh man,
Yay!
thank you. All have you noticed all the most of the good people that are involved in a lot of this? Cedar Creek Bottoms Farmstead, thank you.
Cedar Creek Bottoms.
Blue Eyed, yeah. Go sub to them. They might learn you something.
Yeah, I need to get back to my roots. I'm a city boy now. That's what they
That's
tell me. Till I got to change the oil in somebody's car. Then all of a sudden I'm a redneck again. Oh, hey, you grew up in the country. How'd
yeah,
you do
yeah,
this? I thought I was a city boy 5 minutes ago.
yeah. So that I guess there's a ton of water in North Alabama with
Oh
you
yeah,
would
that's
have
literally what the state's named after.
what? Seriously?
That's what Alabama's called, the land of the rivers.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you got the Tennessee River and you got Lake Gunnersville and all these other places
Yeah.
that and all these creeks that come off of the river.
Well,
We're going
the South
actually
Alabama has like 10 rivers in it.
wow.
It
We're
got the Cahaba, the Alabama, the Tuscumbia River, the Tom Bigby River, all those Mark Twain ass rivers. The
we're
kind you only hear about.
we're going tomorrow to Heather's family. It's almost I'm gonna stay close to Muscle Shoals, and a
Hmm.
lot of these people know where that's at. Um, and her uncle sent a message on Facebook about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and said, "Hey, we didn't know Roger was interested in Bigfoot," and he said, "I need to talk to you ASAP." And
See, that's crazy.
yeah,
That just happens.
yeah, um he lived in Marshall County for years, so the area that he lived in is where my mom and dad had their experience. So I'm have a feeling I might get to hear a few stories tomorrow, and I don't know if he'll get to come on or not. Y'all, I
Yep,
cannot
there he
keep
is.
that
Coosa, Tallapoosa. He's just naming all the rivers.
Coosa.
The Warrior River runs through Tuscaloosa.
So
So you
there's
always find dead bodies.
yeah, I used to know a retired police officer that lived on Gunnersville Lake, and they lived in a spot where one of the current would come up and swirl, and
Hmm.
they would find dead bodies a few times a year down there at their place. So that's
Do,
pretty morbid.
do I know Mark Green?
You've probably seen him in some of our the woodwalkers. He Mike interviewed him on Red Creek Mafia. They're good
That may have
people.
been where it's from. I'm like, he looks oddly familiar, like somebody I'm kin to almost. All white people look alike, so it's very possible.
Y'all crazy. But yeah, so we
White
got
people.
good grace. Our chat just like tripled.
Oh, we got 16 people going here. We're popular.
Oh, and hey, they some talkers now. I I, I love this group because you won't get bored. Hey, if y'all have any questions for Bob in
Yeah.
like northeastern, he's in northeastern Alabama, so
Hmm. I'm actually dead center in Huntsville right now, but grew up in Northeastern. Only 40 minutes from the Buckies.
and y'all, he's such a big Bucky's fan.
Yeah.
That he volunteers on Wednesday nights after church, and he cleans that place for him for free.
Yeah, for free. we went to a pool party 3 miles from there last week. We were so wore out we didn't even go. I'm like, I'm not even in the mood for Bucky's right now.
Yeah, I'd like to
So
have
no,
one of the big brisket sandwiches. Hey, Spencer, won't you can you send us some brisket through the mail?
yeah,
He's
Spence.
he's supposed to be a good cook.
Do you know that I just saw one of this is irrelevant, but I saw one of Mark's videos talking about figs. Did you know that if you take like a fig limb and break it in half and you rub it on your arm and like eat the skin off of it?
No, I didn't know that, but
I
I
was I was
bet
taught
Martin did.
that my entire life, and then I saw somebody on TikTok like trying to make a prank out of it. I'm like, man, I thought I was maybe lied to or I drip it. I used to get told that all my entire life.
Hey, Michael.
Fig saps like poisonous.
Okay, so those 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 videos are dangerous. Where they get people to try things.
Hmm.
Well, it's not a new thing because my dumb ass one time saw or heard somebody say, "Oh, if you're ever out in the woods and you're thirsty, you can hack open one of those vines. The thick that grows up on the trees, or whatever, and it's full of
Hmm.
water." I was out in the woods hunting and didn't have any water with me, and I did that, and I thought I done screwed up. I had an allergic reaction. My throat was closing up. Oh,
Yeah, that's not good. That's poison.
I know, right? I took Benadryl. I didn't even tell anybody. I'll probably die of something mysterious, in 10 years, and that'll be it.
I ate some field corn one time, and you know how the corn has the sign of whatever parasites or pesticides on it. It was like a little billboard in a cornfield out front, pioneer this, decal that. And
No.
I was riding bicycles to a fishing hole, and my cousin dared me to take a bite of this field corn, and my throat closed up, and I couldn't talk the rest of the day. I don't know what was on that corn. Who's walking in? What are you doing? Being spied on over here. Squatch and holler.
Hello.
God, there's dogs in here.
Oh, you're good. I got my door shut.
I can't
So,
mute.
so you can't mute.
Nope, I don't know how to mute this thing. I have to use my phone.
There's free services. YouTube. There you go. You're muted.
No,
Now
I'm using a koozie to prop my phone up, so it looks funny.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all coming in here. So when me and Bob, we didn't say how long we was going to do this, but after this, Spencer and Misty and all of them need to do a live. We just make this a Friday night thing.
It's not a. It's not Glenn or anybody.
So let me ask you this.
Not on this one. My wife is bored. She's like, "Can I come in here and be on it?" I'm like, no.
Yeah, come on. We'll ask some questions. My wife went to bed. she she's like, go on. I'm going to sleep. So
Oh,
what's the
sorry.
craziest thing that you've ever heard, the story that made you go like, what? Now, sure, we've heard a bunch of them.
The stupidest stuff I've heard is the people that said they flew a UFO, and I'm like, I really want to believe you, but you didn't steal a coaster or an air freshener or anything.
how, how do you react to that?
I got this philosophy that whatever's they're being said on my show is 100% true while it's happening.
There you go.
And it was when I did a lot more UFO stuff back then. I've since psyched up because I think when you're dealing with UFO people, you're dealing with either maybe they're telling the truth, something's out there. Maybe they got viciously traumatized as a child and this is repressed memories popping up, or they're crazy as hell and trying to make money. And it's one or three of those, and you can't tell the difference half the time. And so I stopped getting uh, those type of people on as much.
And sometimes you can tell, like, oh, by the way, did you know I had a book?
Yeah, it's always that.
Yeah.
And well, there was the one guy with the blue duck aliens,
The
and
what?
he got the blue duck. They looked like Howard the Duck but blue. That's what he said he saw. He had this whole cinematic universe and this whole story. Like he got what was it? He got taken to a place for 20 years and was there for 20 years and got brought back to the exact time he left. And so he lived 20 years but came back. And oh yeah, Fife. Sorry about that. Yeah, Fife's the UFO capital, Alabama. That's just up the road. But yeah, he got prosecuted before Congress on that because he was like taking people's money and stuff. He made his own little universe. His last name was Good, like the running back, Goode.
Spencer, yeah, I want to hear
Yeah.
that. Do you do? Is it do you have an episode with that guy?
Oh, I shouldn't even say it, but it's Dolly Safran, Preston Dennett's person. Like she says she flew one and went to other planets, and it's pretty consistent. But it's the craziest thing. She's a real cool person, but the whole time I'm thinking, if you could have just take something, the air freshener from the rearview mirror.
Right, a knob. Like you wonder why.
But like I've talked to her several times, and I'll probably have her on again until she hears this show. But I really, she's not even the one that caused me not to want to hear it anymore because hers was just interesting. And I'm like, yeah, you have any proof? She goes, I do have proof, but I don't show it to anyone. I'm thinking, You're not helping me any." Like, and I don't know why she would have to prove herself to me of all people, but
Well, I know you have uh, paranormal researchers. Have you ever had any uh, cryptid researchers that actually go out in the field and had video and sounds and um,
yeah, I've
pe-
had what's his name? Holy crap, Dean. I had the guy from Illinois Sasquatch. I had Dean. I can't think of his last name. They all had the clutch is different. It's
that's
like one of those. It's like one of those K trucks
that's
with the guy for your left
hilarious.
side.
That's hilarious, Michael.
What's his name? What is his name? Oh man, I don't even know. But they all they had like the whoo and smacking the rocks and stuff.
Mike's gonna
Nobody ever
get
had.
in trouble. Mike's gonna get in
Yep.
trouble.
Did he just say what I thought he said? I saw it fade away.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Don't talk
No,
about them like don't talk about them like that. They're nice people.
he took it back. He didn't have to do that.
Well, the people he were talking about is about the same. The story quality is about the same as the UFO flyers. Like it kind of like really nothing.
It's so hard to wrap your head around sometimes. But what if 10% of it's true? You know what I mean?
What if any of it's true?
What's
Any?
1% of it's true, right?
I
And
think a lot of it is.
I like that. I like hearing those stories, but I mean, it's tough because in that story, that does like so. If Mike tells somebody his story and it scares the crap out of them, like they don't want to think that's real. Well, that's the same thing with some of these other stories. It scares me. Spencer will tell you the same thing. You start talking about Dogman, and that I don't want to walk up on a Dogman.
Yeah,
That's not something. What was that? What was
they
that
never
cat?
have good dog man stories. Somebody always gets hurt.
Yeah, they bite. So what? So what was that cat? The cat that you were on a show the
Uh,
other night.
Wampus
Now,
cat.
what was it?
The Wampus cat. That was
What
up in north of Knoxville.
the
That
wampus?
was Sonia Manette. Yeah, it was like a humanoid cat that had long ears, long hair, and a body of a lady with all the accoutrements and cat face. And I think there was a tail and there was an ankle, but the ankle turned into like a cat's paw at the end of it. And she said it whistles a lot.
Who was telling that?
It was
I remember that.
Sonia Manette. I'm actually going to go up there one day because she's got a hot spot for the cryptids. She's up in Granger County, north of Knoxville,
Okay. Well, I think that we have some people up that way.
Washburn,
Mi-
Tennessee.
Misty, Misty's from up that way. And I'm trying to learn where everybody. Of course nobody gives like exact locations. Let me tell you what happened to me today. So I did a podcast a while back, and the guy that he's like, "Hey, this guy wants to talk to you because he lives close to you apparently." Well, I emailed him, never heard anything back. So my barber was closed today, and I couldn't find a place to get a haircut. And I went in this place here in Cornersville. Long story short, she was talking about we got talking about Bigfoot, and other things. And she said, "Well, my new boyfriend has had a experience, and he's a teacher, and they call him Mr. Bigfoot, stuff like that." And she said his last name. I said, "Wait a minute." I emailed him, and she got on the phone and texted and was like, "Hey, I've got Roger in the chair. I'm cutting his hair." And so now I'm gonna talk to him this weekend, and he's only uh, 8 or 10 miles away from me.
That'd be
So
kind of cool.
yeah,
He's
and he
probably
was
sitting on a hotbed.
yeah apparently I heard a little bit of the story. So yeah, I want to hear the rest of it, and I'll hear some tomorrow from Heather's uncle too. I'm sure. What?
I was
I
reading
missed that one. Hold
the
on.
comments go away too quick. He said too much
Oh
woo ruins the subject.
well, I've got my well, y'all see the reflection in my big ass glasses here.
You know, I could turn this on YouTube, couldn't I? What's he
Yeah,
moving over
I've
here?
got
What's this? My
I've got
first day.
another account, and I'm looking on my tablet here.
It's my first day on the internet.
Oh,
I like the woo aspect though. I think it in an odd way legitimizes the whole subject matter. You know, it's not a monkey that's hiding.
it's
Like, where's 10,000 giant monkeys gonna hide with no bones? They're either not real, and Mike knows they're real, so that they have to do something.
look. So here's what you need, Bob. You need to have a co-host and argue with them because Spencer and Misty are so freaking funny. And when you hear like sometimes I'll text Spencer and he'll be like "F you." If you hear some of the conversations, it's like everybody hates each other.
Oh yeah,
But that's some of the best friends you can have. The ones that can cuss you.
Did I message? I messaged Spencer. I think one time. I got so many things on the back burner. So many people I messaged. Like, I'll get back with you later. Remember a
Yeah,
year later.
yeah. That's like with me. Oh, I'll have you on sometime, and
Yeah,
for
I'm messaging him right now.
see, and I want to read all these comments. I'll have to wait till tomorrow to read all these.
Wait, isn't he going to be on my show? Wait a minute. Do we schedule? Whatever. End up messaging somebody. Yeah, I've already done your show, man. Why are you calling me? The I've never met anybody that was rude or mean doing this whole thing. I met people that just flat out didn't exist. You
Yeah.
message them, they never get back with you. Or I've only had one dude that I was just like, okay, well I have to defeat you with all my being now. And he's kind of a famous guy on the the Bigfoot circuit. He's at all the conventions and stuff. It's not like anybody from Finding Bigfoot or anything, but what he told me, I was just like, why are you like this, man? I'm not going to tell you all what he told me, but he told me I needed to grow a little bit before I contacted people like him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some other stuff, and I'm just like, well, now you're my mortal enemy.
that
Now I have to defeat you.
didn't go over too well. I imagine.
I just
What?
kind of made a note. Oh, thanks, man. Note made. So when I see him in 10 years and he's begging to come on, I'm like, well, looks like I need to grow a little bit there.
I haven't run into any uh, super large egos at all,
That's the only
but
one.
that's the only one.
That was it.
Because the people that are legit, like most of the time, something you don't expect from telling your story is people wanting to hear it for the sake of learning. Because that's exactly
Hmm.
why I'm doing this. I'm not professional. I'm never going to be professional. But with you tonight, you've been doing this a long time, and and I feel like if I needed to ask you something technical, I could send you a message, and you'd help me out. Spencer, um, same way. Any of these people in chat right now, if I had a question, I could send them a message, and um, I've actually learned a lot, and I really
I
hadn't
could
talked.
give you a list as long as my arm of crap not to buy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's good information to have. Because I probably done bought some of it.
The biggest thing is these laptop docks for a MacBook. Is there is no consistency. It could either be Chinese crap made of wax paper or last 10 years. There's no in
Yep.
between.
Hey, if you do a paranormal show, um, you need to get Misty in chat here, Misty Haynes.
Mr. Haynes.
Yeah, probably do her and her sister both get them together. They've got some, and I haven't heard all of them either. But they've had a lot of stuff happen in their life.
Hmm. That, everybody sounds familiar to me now. I'm gonna quit saying that. Every name.
Oh, they don't.
Don't do it.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. I can't look at it. It distracts me. It's because it's so funny. And y'all, so
Wi-Fi in Tennessee,
this is
huh?
a relaxed show tonight. So I'm not drinking my water tonight.
I'm drinking this because I got a meeting at the sorority house tomorrow
Mm.
before the big game.
You going to the game?
No,
Oh,
I don't go to football games anymore. I blew my governor out during the Sheila years.
oh man,
I went to every Mike Shula game and half of and saving the games up to 2014, and I'm just
rather stay at home.
done. I'm my couch and my bathroom are better than any stadium dog ever been.
that and that's what's fun about the college college season. It's just everything feels right now. My team hasn't played yet. They
Hmm.
play tomorrow. Matter of fact, they play Virginia. You
And
never know.
LP Field
You never know what to expect. But that's what's
at the
fun.
Titan Stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Neutral site.
Yep. It's only 15 minutes from the other person's stadium, but neutral.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm probably gonna watch about. Said Bob, when you're finished with the show, hit me up on Messenger. That was Mike.
After party.
We what I like about Bob, y'all, is we could change gears and do a show just on movie quotes.
Hmm.
We could do just about anything, and y'all know he would. Didn't you? Weren't you gonna try to be a comedian at one time? Or
I
you are?
wanted to, I wanted to like try it out and see what happened.
Yeah.
Not necessarily be professional, but because I've always like I've been fascinated with comedians. I want to do I want to do a podcast show on comedians. That's probably what you're thinking about.
That would be fun.
But you just do it and review local comedy. Because like I've had a bunch of like semi-famous comedians on my show till I changed the name.
No, hey, let me read this right quick. So Roger, this is a relaxed show. Is that our late night, like our late night show? If so, you need to drink some more, liven it up. Well, no, I'm getting primed for y'all. Y'all gonna go live later,
Hmm.
Spencer, and we're all gonna come in and chat and everything.
I'm going to be on Unidentified S4 on Sunday
What is that?
with Anthony Sinclair out of New York. He's a big UFO guy. He just hit 10 or 100,000. There's a big difference in those two, but he's one of them. He's kind of a big deal. He's
Big
been on
deal.
the he's been on a couple TV shows.
Well, I'll have to tune in if I get a chance.
Because I've reached out all the guys that had shows that I've been on, trying to get put on like I was on that Three Beard show and that Two Dads show. That was a fun show.
Yeah, some of them,
I don't even know what we talked about. But we
some of them I can hang in there, for a few minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, and have to do some honeydews. But
hmm.
um, are there any? See, I could. I'm holding back a little bit because I mean I'm talking to you. Is there any like funny encounters that you've heard that stick out in your mind? I mean, whether it's cryptids or ghosts or
No, yeah, the ghost. There's the funniest ones are the like people. Why did my mind automatically go to somebody getting bit by a rattlesnake while they're going to the bathroom? Why did I think of that? I've heard I've heard I've heard stories about how Dave Chappelle is a clone. That's kind of funny. As far as
you
comedy go, not that a lot of the ones happen in like wait, I just got you mixed up with somebody. I was talking to the guy that was the PR guy from Waverly Hills, and he at the end of the night after a big tour, he'll you know what Waverly Hills is, don't you?
no, I've heard
It's the most haunted place on the planet.
I've heard of it.
The
Maybe
sanitarium, tuberculosis hospital in Kentucky.
yes, I've heard
Well,
that.
this is the guy that turns the lights off at the end of the night. Imagine that job.
No,
And he said he'll go around. And he's done it so much that it really doesn't scare him. But he'll say good night, and he'll talk to the ghost that lives in that particular area. Good night. And he said it. He said it to the one of the more popular ones, like good night, Dave. And he said, not Ernie. God, I'd have been out of there.
oh yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine? But yeah, his name is Ernie Pack. He's a cool dude. I recorded his episode 3 months ago. I'm saving it for the Sunday before Halloween because Halloween's on a Tuesday.
That'd be cool. I'll have to look that up because
Yeah,
Misty, yes, Waverly Hills, she's heard of that.
yeah. Well, everybody should. It's
So
like the cos.
let me ask you a question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this because Spencer says me and Misty and Greg want to review horrible Bigfoot movies and YouTube videos live for a podcast. That's not a bad idea. What would be the rules on that? Um, like,
The
could you
only thing I can
upload
think of is don't review exists because it's the best Bigfoot movie.
with the copyright? Like, you couldn't show it playing in the background, but you all could be
You,
watching it at the same time and commenting.
you could do a clip and comment on it. There's rules for that.
Okay, because that I have actually thought about some of these shows that are on, or like a movie. That's a great idea, and that's the way to get the audience involved.
Well, look at reaction channels. They watch stuff and
Yeah,
they'll stop and talk over it and stop and talk over it.
rules. Rick said rules. Yeah, like
Hmm.
Spencer and Greg now. Yeah,
I think as long as you're sensible about it, you're not going to get flagged.
yeah. I mean, you're not. If you had like 100,000 followers, they might show up at your door or something.
What you would, if you wanted to do it right, what you would do is you would do like something like we're doing right now, or StreamYard or something or other, doesn't matter, and turn the movie on and then take notes while you're doing it, and
Right.
then reconvene when it was over
Do
and
you
discuss it.
do you remember the Tennessee Wraith Chasers? The
Yeah,
go.
I love those guys.
So there's a guy that he was the technical guy on the show. His name's
Hmm.
Peppermint Fatty, James McDaniel. Anyway, he would do the pre-shows on Facebook, and he would be on some of their lives when they go actually into houses and have live cameras. And him and Jamie Kaler would do the updating what had happened, or from commercial break or whatever. And we got to be good friends. We've never met, but we got to be good friends. He used to have watch parties for some of that stuff, and he had it was really fun, and we got to be friends enough to where like, hey, I'm going to New Orleans. Where do I need to go eat or whatever? And that's where he's from. He's out in Arizona now, but they sent him to do cover the Area 51 uh, fiasco a couple years ago. You remember when everybody was going to storm it, and he was doing that for
Oh
one.
yeah,
But I
I
asked
got a
him,
T-shirt about that.
yeah, I sent him a message on Twitter and asked him, hey, would you? Because we laughed all the time. I was always keeping him, laughing, and he said he would come on sometime and do a show. So, well, he was cool because he's a tech guy like you, but I need to read some of these.
And Spencer said I confused you with another host.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
I said, white people look alike.
so listen, while I got everybody on here, uh, I experimented couple weeks ago with actually going live. The next one, I want to experiment going live with more than two people. So if anybody wants to volunteer, um, doesn't have to be next week or whatever, but I can see if I can send 2 links or 3 links. We'll do 3 people the first time.
I think you need to get your StreamYard set up because you could only do this on a phone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till I was kind of like, what the hell? I clicked on it.
Well, I'll have to spend money. Well, I know it's free.
StreamYard's free.
Well, I have to get a computer too. So
Oh, what? Oh, you don't have a. I forget if people don't own computers like they
right.
used to. It
Hey,
went from like 1996 to 2020 or 2016. Everybody had a computer. Then you
yeah,
don't need one really anymore.
yeah, because your TV and your
Yeah,
phone
and your
pretty much.
phone.
I had one for that I used to write for this little newspaper. It was a small town, part time, and I had a laptop. And like my dad always said, he said, "Well, I got the best one Walmart had."
Sure
So
you did.
Spencer, you
One of them
are.
little Acers will last you a while. That's a pretty good brand.
Oh yeah, Spencer can't even remember my name half the time.
Hey, Spencer, I'm having the director and writer of that movie on in November.
The Which one?
The director and writer of Exist,
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Eduardo Sanchez. He also wrote a Blair Witch Project.
Oh crap.
Yep, he's all his accolades are found footage films. So I'm gonna be fangirling. I'm gonna have to get a fan like Like
Um,
there's a show called VHS. It's a found footage. It's a bunch of little vignettes, like horror movie vignettes. He wrote the there's part one and part two. He wrote part two, which is scary as shit. It's wild.
Is Ron Moorhead coming back on? Yeah, I actually talked about. Oh, the ball game must be over. I heard the fireworks, and you know how I can tell if they win or not. If it's a lot of fireworks, they didn't get to shoot many during the touchdowns. So if it's a lot of fireworks, they didn't win. But if it's just a little bit, they just had a few left over.
Was it high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not far from me.
I'm in between Madison County High School and Buckhorn. Oh, I hear them now too. They're shooting my Buckhorn. I swear to God, I just heard it.
It might have
Yeah,
come up here. We're not too far away.
maybe
60
I'm
miles.
hearing from you. Maybe I'm hearing off of yours.
No, I
I
don't.
don't. I just heard fireworks though. But you got Madison County and Buckhorn. And over here is Hazel Green, so it's like a triangle. And when Buckhorn and Hazel Green play, they call it the Cotton Classic because the only thing in between those two high schools is cotton
Cotton
fields.
fields. Yeah, cotton gin over there in Elora.
Hmm.
Hazel Green. That's directly south of me, south of Fayetteville.
Hmm. It's the first thing you come to.
Yep, yep. Anybody? Y'all have any questions for the North Alabamian?
I'm an only child, so don't ask me about my sister. Tired of that damn joke. Get new material, people. Get new material.
I look. I can't get him started, y'all, because he'll he'll go off the rails and have I won't be able to do the show.
Get a notepad, brainstorm, write some. I'm still hacking up this COVID crap. Every once in a while, I'll fall down, coughing, can't even breathe.
Yeah, get back up, brush it off, rub some dirt on
Yeah,
it.
and you know the the military installation to which I may or may not be employed on is heated and cooled by steamers and water chillers, not HVAC. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of old technology somebody sold them like 50 years ago. But it all went out on my end of that base, and it's been hotter than a three bald monkey there all week. And I my lungs full of that crap. I was just like dying. I'm like,
So you went to work with COVID?
I never did test. I didn't know I was exposed until like 4 days in. By that time,
Rex wants to know how's mom then.
look, look, Rex. That is your real name.
If that's your real name. A super show.
Yeah, a super show. Mike's like TBS, the Walmart of the Bigfoot world. I'm the Walmart of the Bigfoot world. Wait just a damn minute. I'm the redheaded stepchild of this world. I'm gonna have 1 million subs and nobody's gonna even acknowledge they know me.
Yeah, like
Don't go over there.
Bob's on again. Don't turn the internet
He'll
on.
he'll, he'll
Turn it
talk to any he'll talk to anybody.
off.
Does not care.
Well, but that's pretty cool though. I mean, you what made you start wanting to do a show, a podcast?
A podcast in general.
Yeah, because
Um,
you've been doing podcasting before that was the name, right? Before it's
oh
called.
no, I just started in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've had like internet YouTube shows for a while, but I started. I was a broadcast major at Alabama because of Rick and Bubba, and I used to like whenever I was in FFA, I used to like making videos for all the FFA projects. I'm like, you know what? I like to troubleshoot computer stuff, but I don't care about computer technology that much, like the engineering part, the down and the dirty part.
Right.
And I like to create stuff with technology because I got my whole room with just wires and stuff. I love it, like a mad scientist. But I wanted to have a hunting show. That was my main goal. And but I didn't want to have like the typical whisper like there he is. He's out of that thicket. I didn't want to do that. I tried to find like another format. I couldn't think of it. One day I saw Cam Haines on Joe Rogan and talking about because he's an ultra marathon, ultra bow hunter on Joe Rogan. I'm like, podcasting is what I'm supposed to do, and that's when I started looking into it. Took me about 2 years to really figure out how to do it.
Well, you got to find, you got to be different. I mean,
Yeah,
you could do like crossbow hunting, like urban crossbow hunting. Like we're on 3 acres behind Hardy's here, and
yeah,
you
3 acres.
know, you so yeah, I mean, oh
Shooting
my
those inner
gosh,
city deer running between houses.
monster bucks.
Yeah.
The next picture would be you like getting arrested or the game warden take picture with him.
Hmm.
I don't get to keep the deer.
Well, I did have like a 5 episode podcast back in 2017 when I lost a ton of weight and I wanted to talk about the diet I was on,
Yeah,
but that turned in more into a vlog where I just uh, showed everybody what I made to eat that day and made little comments about it.
and you got 117,000 views.
On one of them, on that one I showed you,
It's like you never know what's gonna
yeah,
get
like
the views.
when they say please do a hunting show, most of those damn things are boring.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that,
mean that was the problem. Like to make them funny. All the people who are purists are like, "That's stupid.
well,
Hey, get into some hunting." Like how many deer all look the same? You're not gonna break. Not gonna have a. What are you gonna get a pie ball every once in a while? That's not even funny anymore. Like I kind of like the idea of it until I tried to do it. I'm like, this is really boring. But like vlogging and doing podcasts are really fun because there's no rules to them. There's no what do you say any legal hunting show. You can hide out in the shrubs in front of Walmart.
you have to wait. No, what do you retract their message for?
Oh, what is he doing? No
What'd
one
you do?
cares.
If you misspell something, we're not gonna make fun of you till you
Yeah.
face it.
Well, my FFA senior project, what was my junior year? We made an illegal hunting show. Well, we were spotlighting and running from the game warden, and I accidentally got shot because somebody thought I was a deer. It was our FFA teacher was like, "I'm giving you 100 because you did the project with the guidelines, but I thought you were going to die the whole time."
Well, you know how when you were younger, you'd ride around and sip on, Coca Cola and
Hmm.
driving the back roads, and me and my buddies, we made up this game when we were about 17 or 18, and it wasn't real, but we made up the rules, the highway football. And if an animal tried to get across the road and you hit the animal, you scored a touchdown. But you couldn't hit anything over bumper high, right? And we didn't do this. We were just making these rules up. And we're laughing our asses off. And kick a field goal if you ran over or a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever.
A
Get
squirrel.
out, kick a field goal. And if the animal went halfway across or 3/4 way across and made it back to the other side, they scored a touchdown or whatever. So we were just goofing. One of my dumbass friends went to college and wrote this story like it was true, and he almost got people called on him. He had to tell the teacher that it was a bunch of BS. But you don't do that. That's something that stayed. If what stays on the back road, well, happens on the back road stays there. So
Says
we've
more about the people that reading it than the people that wrote it. If that's what pissed them off.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was pretty graphic. Squirrel, stay out of the road. Squirrel, if you make it across the road, it's a touchdown. If you go halfway across and back, it's a field goal.
I bet if you got that now and kind of made like a skit out of it, it'd be the funniest thing on earth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was detailed. We actually wrote the rules now.
Kick a field goal if you rabbit.
What do you do with all the little baby possums? I don't. We couldn't figure
Oh
that.
man.
Safeties, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
yeah, that one time I caught a possum in a steel trap and I knocked it in the head and killed it and it was still moving. And so I started doing this over the head warping and because every time I do it, it would move. and just going. I bet I hit this thing 20 times over the head as hard as I could, and I flipped it over. Finally, like, what the world? And they had like 20 little babies. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to hell.
I had the last time I squirrel hunted. Now, if I got hungry, I'd go back again. But I didn't have hollow points for my 22, and I had the lead bullets, the cheaper ones,
Hmm.
and I shot this fox squirrel, and we ate everything we got. I shot this fox squirrel, knocked him down out of the tree, went over there. He was moving, so I shot him again. I shot him again. I ran out. I had 7 left. I shot him 7 times.
A fox squirrel?
A fox squirrel. He was a big one.
An
This
actual
crawled
fox?
up in this hollow stump, and he was looking at me like, "Why did you do this to me?" And he's, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I didn't have anything to like shoot him with, kill him with. I had to beat this squirrel to death with the butt stock of my gun, and I and he was looking at me the whole time like, "Why?" And it broke my heart. So I quit squirrel hunting, or at least with lead points, I get hollow points. So it was horrible.
That's
But
a resilient squirrel.
oh, he was tough. But it's like shooting something with a Full Metal Jacket though.
So going right through him.
Spencer, I thought of you today. I got my hair cut in a new place, and when I walked in, the lady that owned the place had a baby possum on her head, a live baby possum. I wanted to take a picture and text you so bad. And she said, "Oh, you don't mind him, do you?" I'm like, "No, ma'am." What are you gonna say? Where are you gonna put him? And he stayed up there and watched. I said, "Well, he looks like he's learning. It'd be like Ratatouille. He'll be cutting hair like next week."
Possum.
I didn't miss Spencer. I didn't miss the squirrel. I shot him 7 times. I hit him all 7 times. I didn't have hollow points. Poor little bastard.
Oh, so you had like the flat tips or the solid tips.
The lead, yeah. With that, I didn't have
Yeah.
a hollow. It was horrible. I learned my lesson.
Still, that is resilient. It might have been a little cryptid you were killing there. Might have been a little chupacabra
Golly, I shot
or a
a,
puckwudgie.
mangy coyote one time. That's Spencer's nickname, Little Possum.
The nickname was puckwudgie.
But would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So
Spencer
y'all
story.
y'all have heard all of this cryptid stuff. I've never heard of this till I think it was last night. Was you on that show?
Oh, the
When
puckwudgie. Sorry,
the
I just said the
the
word 4 times.
but ask it. Does anybody know what a
Yeah, the
puckwudgie is?
puckwudgie. Puckwudgie. WUD. I figured some of the guys might, depending on who's on there.
Right. It, so tell us what a puckwudgie is.
I know the Mexican version,
All right,
but
that's good.
it's a little dude, Oompa Loompa esque, maybe smaller, and it's has a what's it kind of like a animalish face and has like porcupine hair, and they live like in little caves and stuff. But in Mexico, if you they have to like honor the puckwudgie.
Yeah.
If you build a Walmart, you have to put a little house next to it with a where the puckwudgie can live and bring it
Respect
offerings and stuff. It's wild.
respect the puckwudgie.
Yeah, offer and if you don't honor the local puckwudgie, it'll burn your house down. Apparently, there's been things in Mexico where they try to build like a church or something, and it just keeps burning down because the mayor didn't honor the local puckwudgie.
Well, I with some of these areas like Mike, where I went to New Orleans a couple years ago, and you hear some of these local stories, but some places have a different feel to it, so you don't want to go against their traditions, because
Mm-mm.
you don't want to laugh at them either. If they're telling you about it, you better just kind of go along with it, because you don't want to offend people because you go missing in some of those places, and then they got somebody to blame it on, the puckwudgie, right?
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't us.
He should honor the puck wedgie. That's all I'm saying. It ain't our fault.
No one. We told you there's a sign on both ends of town about the puck
Told
wedgie.
you 7 times to honor that puck wedgie. Now look at you, disemboweled, musty.
Oh me, y'all crazy. Well, it's been an hour and a half. You ready to call it a night?
Oh yeah, sure. I
I
was laughing a while ago when you said you'll bring the tobacco. I'm like, oddly enough, that's a suitable honoring for the offering for the puck wedgie.
and I learned that from the show, right?
Hmm.
Um, so let's give them a little time here. Who's going live next? We'll give you a little. Spencer, are you going live so we can join your channel? We can do a channel hopping.
Well, it's college game day eve, so we got to get to sleep and got to leave candy out for Pat McAfee. You got to leave milk and cookies out for Pat McAfee to come through
Yeah, or your team won't win.
to visit us. I love that dude. I don't care that he did that stupid backflip off the boat. He's still funny.
My shoot, we have the early game tomorrow too, but it's
I may not even watch Bama play tomorrow. I don't. I'm tired of those cupcakes.
you got to
I
watch
mean,
it. You got to watch at least first quarter. See
yeah,
who's quarterbacks.
I'll watch. I'll watch the whole thing and punch a wall. I know me, but still, I don't want to.
All right, who's going to volunteer to go on?
It's the most disruptive force in my life is Alabama football.
Why is that?
It just makes me so mad. I can't control myself. I don't. I wish I could.
Oh,
Bama don't play anybody. They play Middle Tennessee State. Just like Georgia plays Tennessee Martin.
warm up games.
I hate them. Let's play somebody else. Get North Carolina State. See, I ain't doing nothing.
Well, but y'all usually open up with some decent ones.
Every used to you have the Chick-fil-A Classic with Clemson or Virginia Tech or something.
Yeah, we played in that a couple times and down in
Hmm.
Georgia.
Those were fun games.
Yeah.
Louisville that one time with Bobby Petrino and his motorcycle scar.
Oh yeah, Misty will go on live. Mike, go on live. We'll come over there.
I'll do the thing where I watch the last show from the bed and I'll be commenting. All of a sudden I wake up and it's 2 in the morning. Phone's laying next to me with drool on it.
That Mike, he said when he was listening to your encounter the other night on my first show, he was in the bed with the earbuds in suspense, scared to death.
Dude, man, I thought about that for 3 days.
Shut up, Spencer.
And well, you know what gave me. You know how when you think of something so horrible or not horrible, but that might have happened, and you get like that shock feeling a little bit. It's like fear, but it's not fear because it's not real. I love David Parker. That's all I'm gonna say. Big
Cookie
fan.
berries.
Yeah, but like whenever I thought about how Mike had that thing in his crosshairs,
Yeah,
he could have ended. He could have ended the whole debate right then.
but it was too human.
Yeah, and he said, like he told me, it probably would have ripped him to shreds or not been there, so it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I mean, when something.
I get the boo boo jeebies thinking about it now. Like it was right there. He had it. He had it ended. Yeah, I like David Parker a lot. He was the first one I talked to ever on text message or anything that had like a real experience, and so I thought he was full of shit. Just via text, the stuff he sent me, the audio, I'm like, well, this is stupid. And I talked to him. I'm like, okay. And I talked to other people, and they said the same shit 1,000 miles away with the same kind of things. I'm like, what? And that's when it started hitting me. I'm like, these things are all saying the same things. 60-year-old men out in the woods that can't work a phone hardly are telling me the same story. I had one dude that saw one kill a deer with its bare hands. He
Hell yeah.
said Roger wants to watch a train wreck and wind down.
Yeah. I want to, I don't
That's
want
fun.
to be on it. I want to, yeah, like you said, I want to be on the train.
Supposed to watch it.
I want to watch it. I want to text. I want to get in chat and goof off. That's what's funny about Friday nights. Everybody's got something going on.
Yeah.
So high school football and whatever. But I don't want to be tied down to a certain day, and because I want to be flexible. And then if I want to do spontaneously go on at 11:30 on a Tuesday night if I have the next day off.
Yeah, you can always do that. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to go to where I don't do live as often and do a bunch of pre-record so I can add some post-production. But I'll still do a couple lives a month because they're fun.
Listen to this. I'm not going to say who I talked to today, but somebody that does a big time podcast, and they have several different podcasts that they do, and they taught AI their voice. So instead of spending 3 days on a podcast getting ready, editing, and all that, you just, I guess, copy and paste, and it reads it in this person's voice. And I listened to one today as a just a sample. I couldn't tell the difference. That's
That's
scary.
freaky.
That is
That's
scary.
freaky.
Yep.
That's better. That's worse than Hank Williams Sr. singing Ice Cube. He did. That's that song's so funny.
Oh my.
Hank Sr. singing Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one yet. Now I gotta.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
about to
good.
look it up.
Straight Outta Compton. It's to the tune of Setting the Woods on Fire.
Oh, I gotta look that up. No, and you see some of these groups online, and I'll stay away from what we all think about certain ones, but um, I'm surprised at the people that cannot tell the difference in an AI generated photo.
Yeah, and
You know,
the ones that are too good. I'm like, that's not real.
I mean it. But some of them are like like the one that my son made. It's what I did for the thumbnail for this in the last week.
Hmm.
They're obviously not real.
Yeah, it's like an animation.
Yeah, but I have this guy that rides. I do public transportation, and he's from the north end of this county, and he's about my age. He can't see too well, so he's been watching one of the shows on TV, and I thought it would go without explanation. Some of the animation, some of the reenactment would be obviously fake. Man, he gets on my van. Man, I saw that show last night, and he's like, I wouldn't want to see that son of a bitch. And I'm like, I don't have the heart to tell him. You know,
My papa used to think the reenactments on those shows were news footage, and you couldn't beat him with a stick to make him believe they weren't.
so
Because how'd they get that picture then? I'm like, oh my god.
it's
He
just
thought documentaries were the same as news. Like, no, man, those are skewed. Yeah, yeah,
Spencer,
Spencer,
you
you
need to
need to
go on
meet
his
me.
show.
I just sent you a message, Spencer.
Spencer, you need to go on his show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could be friends, soulmates even. When this is
Don't
over, I think we should get an apartment together.
no, don't get to talking
That
about movies.
that was from Anchorman. That was
Oh God.
when this is over. You don't want to get. I'll ruin everybody's view of Goonies, which is my favorite thing to do. Ruin everybody's memory of Goonies.
Well,
Like,
maybe that would be a good idea though. To review like any of the worst the movies there. What's the worst made movie that you like?
that
Like
I like.
we all watched Toxic Avenger back in the day. It was just dumb as hell, but you could not watch it.
My parents would say probably Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, they thought that movie was terrible. I remember liking it when I was little. My favorite movie is probably The Big Lebowski, and it's a cult classic from the Coen brothers.
I remember seeing it when it first come out.
I
You
love that movie.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a story while you're on here because we're chit chatting. But I don't know if I've told anybody this, but I've had deja vu happen. I told the story on Bob's show about the long one I had. It was like 15 seconds. So, but
Hmm.
it was me, one of the guys I grew up with. Uh, he'd had an experience one time with Bigfoot, a small one, and these two other guys. And I went to school with one, and this other fellow was a friend of him. So we were going to Arizona to watch Tennessee play Penn State, and we just pooled our money together. While we're out there, I'm like, "Hey, we're close to the Grand Canyon. There's no way I want to see it." So we called back and made plans. Like, "Hey, we're going to be late for work coming back," and so we pulled up to the Grand Canyon, and um, there was this one. There was like two or three hotels, and one of them was like a lodge. Had the big logs and the big steps entrance or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, I've seen this somewhere before, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I've seen this, and no way, you ever been out here? No. I walked in and looked over at the cash register. Every picture that was on the wall, the chairs in the other room, I'd seen
Hmm.
it before. And this is like if this is the case, this is one of the most craziest uh, deja vu moments because it kept going. And there was even potted plants that I knew or whatever. It's just I knew this whole area. I've never been there.
That's
I
such a
never
weird feeling.
I've never been west of the Mississippi, but one time, and as far as I went was Dallas when I was young. This freaked me out, and every now and then I'll think about it. Oh god! And years later, I don't know if I was watching HBO, and you remember uh, the first vacation
Oh yeah,
with Chevy Chase? Do you remember where he tried to cash the check at and they wouldn't do it? And he wrote the check, he opened the cash register and took the
yep.
money out of the cash register. That was the place. That's where I saw it. I saw it in that movie, and it scared the total shit out of me and worried me for years. And when I saw that movie again, I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's weird.
but
You've probably seen that movie 5 or 6 times, and
yeah,
so it's like it imprinted like you're
yeah.
studying for a test.
And the reason because we had a store and it made an impression on me because somebody reaching in your cash register, they liable to get a baseball bat across the forehead. But and I remember that scene. But I know that's
Chevy Chase. That's such an. I'll go on record to say all the other vacations are trash compared to Christmas Vacation.
oh Christmas. Oh my God, that's that's one of the absolute.
I
That,
may get that. I may get that out this weekend. Watch. It's almost
yeah,
time.
you
It's
remember the
practically winter.
you remember the scene where he sprayed the stuff on the bottom of the disc when he before he went down
Mhm.
the snow the hill
Yeah.
there. Well, I mean we're laughing through the whole thing, but when he took off like he shot him out of a rocket, I was on the floor on one knee laughing in the movie theater. I don't know why that struck me so funny at the time, but
He said, "Phew."
that was one of the that movie and Joe Dirt and Forrest Gump and Oh Brother Where Art Thou are like quote gold. You can
Yeah,
those four movies and get you through any situation in a conversation.
that's like my one of my four favorite movies. There, Forrest Gump and Oh Brother.
Oh yeah.
I love
Any
Oh
of you
Brother. That's
gentlemen that shoot in the metallurgic arts?
Smitty's. You boys, Smitty's. Don't let me get near the rat on a stick at a Chinese buffet. Cause I'll offer everybody gopher around me. Gopher Everett. Gopher Everett.
Whole Gopher Village.
A whole gopher village. Gopher would only tease my appetite, leave me hungrier afterwards.
Well, Mike, we heard in that movie, the state of Mississippi is not quite as lenient as the good Lord.
Yeah,
Right?
See, Mississippi's not quite as lenient.
Hey, Michael. Hey, friend, your folding money's come unstowed.
Preacher said I'm forgiven of that too.
Oh my God. That that was one of them I didn't watch. I didn't watch that one for a while. I never saw it advertised. So it was like last at the movie store. I'm like, well, I guess I need to watch this and see what it is. It's one of my
Oh,
favorite.
it's instant classic for me. It went and the soundtrack stands alone.
Oh yeah,
I wore that CD out. I bought it 3 or 4 times
yeah.
and just
I
wore
bought.
it until it just wears out.
I've only bought two soundtracks in my life, and that's one of them. And I can't even remember what the other one was. That tells you that one was pretty awesome. And
I think I finally bought it on my phone eventually.
what's the guy's name that the Man of Constant Sorrow? He's actually
Oh, Union Station.
there's another guy that does some of the songs on there. I can't think of his name. They do shows, around Nashville and stuff. But he's got some good songs. It's just a classic. And then when people pass away and you remember watching stuff with them, and it just brings back all the memories. And my son, he's a quote machine. I remember kind of what they say. He remembers them word for word, like
The
you do.
Pappy O'Donnell Flower Hour.
he
It's
said,
cool, clear
he said,
water.
"Oh, you have to sign right here." And he said, "Well, Mert and Aloysius can't. They'll just have to put their X.
Only 3 of us can write.
Only three of us can write." He just cheated in my $20.
There's another quote in that particular scene you can't see on the internet.
Oh, I know. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we are.
Maybe.
Other than our guitar accoutrement.
Hey, Daddy, maybe we need to get us some of that there reform.
But
Oh,
a bunch of Johnny Come Latelys and a
Mark's
midget and
talking
everything.
the '80s movies. Man, that's we all probably about the same. We're older than you. Bob, how old are you, Bob? About 44.
I'm 40.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have any white in your beard yet.
I do up here.
Yeah,
Can't see it.
it's starting. Yeah, some of the
I just
'80s.
turned 40 3 weeks ago.
So what Spencer? What's your favorite '80s movie?
By the way, Clerks is amazing. Kevin James is a legend. I saw him right before COVID. Went to a Q&A with Kevin James.
And Clerks. The reason I liked it so much is because I grew up in the store business. So he's like, "Hey, I just robbed a customer." He said, "Man, it's a soundtrack." Oh, hey guys, let's. So, um,
Oh, yeah.
I started binge watching 2 weeks ago. I think it's is it Tubi or Freebie, free or that you have on the streaming services that's free has the commercials.
Yeah, those are
And
both Tubi and Freebie.
so I was looking through there and they had some of the old sitcoms and hour long TV shows. And my son was here and they had the original Miami Vice. And I thought, man, I love that show, but I couldn't remember why. And I'm about 6 into it now. That that is a little bit cheesy in some of the action scenes, but the soundtrack was awesome. I mean, they had some of the top notch music in those episodes.
It's like the Rocky soundtrack.
Oh man,
Rising up.
I got kicked out of Rocky Four. We won't get into that. I was young. Everybody go.
Were you a Russian sympathizer?
No, I had a smart aleck in front of me. Wouldn't shut up. Oh man, Quentin Tarantino.
Even Jackie Brown, Mike. You like Jackie Brown? Can you look me in the eye and tell me Jackie Brown was a good movie, Mike?
Was that Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever watched it.
it's a rough one.
Is it?
If you're a fan of Tarantino, you have to watch it.
I will now.
But there's a lot going on with that movie. It's
My
got
fir-
De
I,
Niro in it, Samuel L. Jackson,
the first one that I saw was probably the vampire movie with Clooney.
Dust to Dawn.
Yeah, and I didn't like Kill Bill. I had no that didn't. I didn't like the pace of it. I didn't like it. And now, if I watched it again, I might like it.
I had
So
a hard time with Kill Bill 1 and 2 myself. I've only went and watched them once.
yeah, I didn't like that. Um, trying to think like some of those. Now my movie when I was like 13, I went to the library and I checked out the book The Outsiders. And when that book started, S.E. Hinton wrote the book. And when it starts, the first couple lines is exactly the way it ends because he's writing the account. I I read that book a lot of times, and then they came out with a movie. So that I was really excited that came out. No, my cornbread. I hey I he come to that first show, the first episode I did, and I went back and blocked his ass. Hey, I tell you what we can do. We can put him on
Cornbread.
Bob interview him.
Which one's cornbread?
You, if you, when Mike first started, we had a guy locally here. He was he just kept getting worse and worse, and he would he text Mike at 2 in the morning.
Oh God.
Chain texting like big paragraphs and wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those.
well,
What do you want me to hear your story? Calm down, buddy.
well, yeah, it was bad. Uh, yeah, Die Hard, best Christmas movie ever.
Carl Winslow.
Lethal Weapon was awesome. I tell you how me and my dad used to shoot all the time, and he reloaded, and we long distance shoot. We shot skeet with pistols. We saw that movie. We watched it together, and he went out like the next week and bought a Beretta 92F because that scene where where Mel Gibson is shooting at the helicopter and rolling and spinning. He unloaded about 15 or 16 at that helicopter. My daddy said, "I got to have me one of them." and
Get me one of them.
yeah, we had a couple of them. David, are you in the woods?
He's in Oregon.
Is it? But what time is it in Oregon?
7:52.
Sitting in the back 40 watching for a big old bear to dark.
It ain't even dark here yet.
I watched the first season of Ozark and didn't watch any of the rest of it because I canceled Netflix and if I go back and watch it, I'd have to watch season one again. What did everybody think about Breaking Bad?
Excellent, legendary.
Yeah,
Better Call Saul was better.
you think so?
I think it held up.
No, I liked it. I didn't get to finish it. I need to go back and finish that. I liked him and was it Mr. Nobody?
hmm
That was a good
Man,
movie.
he was badass.
Original Raiders of the Lost Ark, yes. Empire Strikes Back,
In my mind, Last Crusade is the best Indiana Jones. I think it's because it's the first one I ever saw. But
probably.
I've seen the rest of it equal amount of times, but I don't think any of them are better than Last Crusade. I don't.
Was that the first one?
This is with Sean Connery
Sean Connery, right? His
with
dad.
the cup of Christ.
So you know, I worked at I worked at a video store when I was a sophomore in high school. I had a '68 Plymouth, so I had to buy stuff for it, gas and all. So I got me a part time job.
68.
Yeah, I had a '68 Satellite 2 door, and the one of the rules was if when we were closing up at night, if the movies were still there, we could take them home, watch them for free, and bring them back the next day. And I I failed. I never was a junior because me and my dad would watch movies all night, and I'd get about 3 hours sleep. And Red Dawn, man, Gremlins. Well, see, a lot of these movies were big steps forward. Like, I mean, the first Jurassic Park, um, the Spider Man. They had to wait a while before they did that because they didn't have the technology
Mm.
to make it what it could be. Um, and some of them. Oh, don't Spencer! Don't be talking about Red Fern Grove. I'll be squalling over here. Be,
Mm, I don't need that negativity right now.
I don't. We don't need that stuff. You gonna ruin my buzz.
I'll take an axe and kill Reuben.
Yeah, go whoop out old Yeller here.
Yeah. What Good Lord, old Yeller. Sadistic mofo's. Bunch of masochists.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I just watched that the other day. Did you know the real J. Allen Hynek's in that movie?
What now?
The real J. Allen Hynek is in that movie.
No, I didn't know that.
I found out. I was like, "What? That's the real one? I thought it was a depiction."
I had a chance to see, the Devil's Tower out in South
Yeah.
Dakota. We were like 15 miles from it and didn't go. Leave It to Beaver. I've got that. I've got the whole collection of Leave It to Beaver. I love that show. Gilligan's Island. I heard a comedian say one time. He said, "Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but he was talking about the professor, how smart he was. He said he could make a radio out of two coconuts, but he couldn't build a damn raft." Oh my god! Yeah, Little House on the Prairie. That was some. That was some heart. Some most of them were okay, but man, they would tear your heart out.
Yeah. I only had 3 channels growing up, and so I had to watch Little House, and I can't stand that show because of that.
Bridges.
It come on in between stuff.
You know what the nastiest thing ever said on TV was?
Yeah. Dadgummit, what is it? I know
Ward,
what it is.
Ward, don't you think you were a little hard on the Beaver last night?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all.
Ward. My mind went straight to Moses tied his ass to a tree and walked 40 miles. That's what I thought. That's what the first thing I thought of.
And I'm gonna make a confession right here. The Sopranos. I watched the first episode and I've never seen the rest of it, and I have a feeling I'm missing out. Breaking Bad was if you really get into it and you look at the colors they use through Walt's progression, because he wears a lot of green. His vehicle's green when he's getting into this new world. As he progresses and he changes, he starts wearing darker colors. Um, and I don't know what it was about that. I've got to watch The Sopranos. Did was the
Damn, I didn't
ending
watch it either.
was the ending as disappointing as I hear, or was it? Because I hear some people say it's pretty cool.
When it cut off.
Yeah, where like somebody offed him or whatever.
Yeah, it just cut to black.
Longmire. Longmire was good. All of these are good. Gunsmoke, Bonanza. I'm gonna tell y'all one that I really, really liked. I liked it a little too much because Spencer, this is for you too. This is probably where Spencer got exposed to Buffalo Trace products. But Raylan Givens, Justified,
I live and breathe.
Justified. That was
Well, if you
Chappelle Show.
like, if you like Justify, you need to watch Righteous Gemstones.
What is it?
Righteous Gemstones.
I hadn't seen that one.
Oh my God, it's the funniest show ever made. But David Goggins is the main character.
Goggins,
Yeah.
Walt. What was his name?
Uh, Boyd Crowder.
Yeah, yeah.
Raylan Givens. I live and breathe.
Raylan Givens. That was a good show. That,
The Righteous Gemstones and Vice Principals
the
both
only
have
thing,
him in it, and they're funny. They're deadly
the,
funny.
the only thing I hate about Raylan Givens and that crew is me and Spencer we like bourbon, and they made some of those Buffalo Trace products so popular we can't freaking find them now.
Yeah. And Apple Pie Moonshine.
No,
That,
yeah.
that one woman always talking about apple pie.
Megs,
Yeah.
Megs, yeah. Man, that was a mean son of a gun. Fire in the hole.
What's his name? Meg Crow.
I can't remember what her last name was.
Dewey Crow and Morton
Dewey.
Crowder.
Hey, okay. One of my favorite. You remember Dewey, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in that whole stretch of episodes. So you remember when Dewey, he woke up and he had the stitches and then thought somebody stole his kidneys.
Yeah.
He said, I gotta get some money. He said, so they can give, like, he's gonna give him his kidneys back. And he said, they stole my kidneys. He said, Dewey, can you take a piss? He said, what's that got to do anything? They didn't get my, what, they got my kidneys. He said, well, if you can pee, you still got your kidneys. He said,
He
oh
was running around thinking he was going to die in like 30 minutes.
yeah. So he had to go rob a bunch of people. E.T. Smoking a Bandit. Man, good gracious,
What is happening? I may have to end this here in a second. I got to go to the bathroom.
I do too.
Yeah, I was.
Can you mute it?
No, not this time. I muted this time. Yeah, that was weird. It's not that kind of bathroom break.
he he didn't mute
I
it
took the
before the
microphone
show.
to the bathroom a while ago.
He said, I gotta go get a drink. And he didn't mute it. We were before we went live. And I said something to him. He says, my mic's still on. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like you pouring that drink from a high, really high.
Yeah, I had to go. I was like, crap, I forgot that I was using this as a microphone. My headphones. It's like those newscasters that walk into the bathroom with their mic still on their chest.
All right, y'all. I hell, you know what? I may go off here and just jump in the chat. No, I'm kidding. Eastbound.
Everybody just go to the chat.
Yeah, just go to the chat. We're gonna cut
Chat
the
in
yeah.
your podcast Inception. You're in the chat of your own show.
Yeah. And I've been holding back too because I mean I don't want to get too bad.
So who's actually hosting? No one's hosting.
What?
It's been going on for 5 years.
You're supposed to have a host like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing, absolutely nothing.
Show with no host.
Everybody just take turns.
Yeah. There's one show that's been going on for about a year. It's alive and they come in and out of it. Thanks, David.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
jealous that you're in Oregon. Kind of want to
Yeah,
go somewhere and hang out.
yeah, we'll be there in a little while.
Hmm.
We're gonna come hunt some elk with you tomorrow. Boy, she skimped me today. She's like, "You sure you want that much taken off?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yes. It's
please."
hot.
Chat roll.
I'm gonna come get some voodoo donuts.
Uh, Speaking of that, the horse show is tonight in Shelbyville, and they have horse show donuts, and they are freaking amazing. And Peyton's supposed to bring me some back. I don't know what they do different. It's like a cakey. It's got a little spice in the batter, I guess.
Hmm.
And man, you can smell those things cooking. You heat them up in the microwave, and people go, "You only get them once a year." I don't know who makes them. I had a route. I was in Shelbyville. I'd go in the stores, and I walked in, and somebody had just microwaved one. I said, "All right, who's got the horse show donuts?" They're like, "Here, you can have part of them."
Damn, that's not that far away either.
Shovel.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right over the hump.
And it used to be a bigger deal. I mean, there's a lot of money involved in those walking horses. My son's there tonight. They probably gone by now, but
Woo. Everybody's saying good night. I think I'm gonna
yeah,
say good night too.
everybody got
My eyes starting to get dry.
everybody got me. All right, y'all. Y'all go take a bathroom break. Somebody better be going live. I'll be
Somebody
back in
better.
a minute.
All right.
See
See ya.
y'all later. Thank you, Bob.